Hey guys, I hope you have your coffee ready. I hope you have your mugs ready because it's time for Coffee Break with Eddie T and
Mike Alvarez.
Hey guys, welcome to Coffee Break. I am your host, Eddie Torres, here along with my good friend,
Mike Alvarez.
Thanks for joining us. If this is your first time, we want to welcome you. You're going to enjoy the stories that we share with you. They're great, they're powerful, and they're creative stories that we've gone through, and we want to share with you guys. And Mike actually deals with creative people, so
I do.
Yeah, he on a regular basis.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, I said I do, like as if though like I questioned you, but I do.
He actually does. Yeah, I actually went to witness that too on one of your services.
Yeah.
But if this is your second time or third, or if you've seen one of our shows again, welcome again, and thank you for supporting us. We're excited that you're back with us. So, you know, Mike, this week, I want to know what's been happening with Unnamed.
Oh, my gosh.
Please, tell us.
We've just been, again, you know, we have a lot of creative, a lot of artists, and folks that are, you know, people that are actually interested in God and interested in faith, and we've created an environment for young artists to be a part of this. And so, we're just talking about how we can connect with more artists and more creatives in the Aurora area. So that's kind of what we've been focused on this week, as we've been talking about strategies and talking about events that we could do to kind of draw more people in. So in fact, we just had a conversation earlier today about that. So
nice.
Yeah, really excited about that.
When I went out to see you guys, I got a chance to mingle with some of your musicians and singers, and we kind of came from the same circle, small world, but
it's interesting.
Same circle of musicians and places that we've played, and a lot of great talent. It was just great seeing them and seeing the creative people, the atmosphere that you cultivate there.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's always funny because I don't consider myself an artist in the sense of I don't sing, I don't dance, I don't write.
We probably don't want you to sing either.
Yeah, you probably don't want me to sing. Yeah, it'd be pretty bad actually. But for some odd reason, we've just collected some creative people, and they've been a part of Unnamed, and it's been so great. So I think the only creative thing that I have is, or the only thing I look like a creative is just my wooden glasses.
Yeah.
And that's
pretty
really
cool though.
Yeah, that's really about it.
They are pretty cool. Yeah.
I try.
Yeah.
I try.
Listen, folks, these stories that we bring to the show, they're stories that people don't necessarily hear on a regular basis, right? They're stories that singers, musicians, film producers, dancers, whatever creative world you're in, the journey from the beginning to where they are now, they don't get that opportunity to share with other people, and that's what the show's about. So we're hoping that today's show, which is going to be a very powerful and amazing show, because he's a special guest, and he's also I hate to say the word client, but he's a guy that I've gotten a chance to work with and produce, and so I'm super proud to have him part of the show today. And with us today, we're going to introduce a good guy by the name of an amazing singer, and man, I want to give you a bunch of titles. Devin Velez.
Hi. Yay. Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah. No, absolutely, and thanks for coming, Devin. I know you come from a little drive, not too far away, but a little drive from me. How was your drive in?
Drive-in was fine, and yeah, we're about an hour away. We're in the city of Chicago. Lived there my whole life. It's home.
Yeah. It's home for you.
Yeah.
Well, Devin has an amazing story, and I could probably, and we will get into all the things that you do, and but in our last segment, Mike, right, we had this one lady, wonderful, by the name of Kim, who shared her story, and she kind of beat me in the sense that I thought I started early in the industry, in the music industry, and I was at the age of 9. I grabbed a guitar, and by the age of 10, I was on stage. Well, she came at what age did she say?
I think she said 2.
2.
Yeah.
Wow.
At 2, she's a choreographer. She's a dancer now. She dances. She does this whole workout pound thing in different gyms and venues. And so, when did you start?
Wow, when did I start? Around the same time as the lady you're talking about. I was around 2.5. What's funny is in my house, in my grandmother's house in Florida, there's a picture that's framed in the room that I used to stay in, and it's, I mean, the date on it is 98, and I was, no, 96, and I was born in 94. So it's like around 2.5, around the time that I was learning how to talk. You know, I remember just always wanting to be on stage, always wanted to sing, and it's just always been something that I did.
Never let it go.
Yeah, I don't think I could ever not do it.
So when's the first time you actually grabbed that microphone?
Well, in that picture, I'm holding a microphone and I'm on a stage at a church. So it was actually the church that we grew up in here in Chicago. I think that was the first time. That was my first ever little solo. Yeah.
Wow.
I think we were singing Happy Birthday, Jesus. I think it was for like a Christmas event there at the church. And
How's it go?
Happy Birthday, Jesus.
I remember that song too, yeah.
What's funny is that my friend at the church that I go to now, my pastor's daughter, who is a very close friend of mine, she's my same age, that's actually her on the track. Because I go to Chicago Tabernacle in the city, and that song is from the Brooklyn Tabernacle, which is her grandmother's church out there in Brooklyn. So
is that right?
Yeah, it's a funny thing.
Is that Amanda? Amanda? No.
No, Annie.
Annie, okay.
Yeah, Annie.
Okay.
So Annie and I are very close, and that's actually her. So I was like, my first solo was you.
That's awesome.
Wow.
David,
That's awesome.
I think David Stevens.
Yeah.
He's a good friend.
Yeah, he's
of
a good pastor there.
Yeah.
One of our associate pastors.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's an up and coming ministry in Chicago now.
What's funny is that's actually our slogan. When you open our brochure, it says Chicago Tabernacle, a place of becoming.
Oh, no kidding.
Hey.
Wow. I just remember hearing all the New York, when they started from New York Tabernacle Choir, how powerful they were.
Yeah,
the music
it's
was
amazing.
Yeah.
Our choir's a little smaller, but it's still really good.
Yeah. They are amazing.
So Devin, you have a lot that you've gone through. I mean, your journey in the music industry, being able to work with you firsthand in the studio, and we've been in a journey together for some time now, and it's been a blessing. It's been great to work with you. But we want the folks to hear from you. Tell us a little bit about Devin.
Well, again, born and raised here in Chicago. I've been singing for as long as I can remember, 2.5 years old, around there. Growing up, I remember watching my mom in the studio, and that was a very, very big part of my childhood. It was her always singing. She had some CDs out, and she was performing in a lot of different venues around the city and stuff. And I remember just being in the studio, just watching her. There's pictures that show like my face, and there's like a little twinkle in my eye when I was watching her, sitting there with my headphones. Just she's like, okay, you have to be quiet, and I'd just be quiet, and sitting there in the booth with her. And I remember just seeing her on stage and wanting to be in that kind of environment like forever, And so as early as I could, and I was available to do so, I started doing things like performing in choirs at church. I was in the Chicago Children's Choir for about 5-6 years. Worked my way up into the advanced choirs in downtown. Ended up being on the worship team at church, and throughout high school, I auditioned for 3 different shows just because I'm like, this is what I want to do. I have to find an opportunity to do so, And I tried out for a few shows, and a few of them didn't go far at all. And then my senior year, I auditioned for Idol, and it ended up, being, I guess, where God wanted me, and I ended up, ending in 8th place, which I'm not complaining about. I got to meet a lot
American Idol, right?
American Idol, American Idol, the old one, the one that was on Fox. But it was an incredible journey. I've met a lot of amazing people with that, and I've got to do some pretty cool things with that, and it's opened a lot of doors. But more than anything, I feel like it's after being off of the show for so long. I think now it makes me look at wanting to be a musician in a completely different way, and I understand a little more of the lifestyle and the business of show business out there in LA and stuff. It can be a little cutthroat. I understand when people say he's a shark. I understand terms like that. Now I understand needing to have enough self-discipline and strength to know how to say yes and no to certain things. And so I definitely took away a lot from it. Yeah.
I'm curious to know, Devin, for you, you talk about how it's changed your perspective on how you want to pursue music. If you would a little bit address that, I'm curious to know about that, but also at the same time, you hear of people moving into the art world and people that want to be actors, people that want to be musicians. They talk about the hardship of that journey. What kind of rejection did you experience moving into that, where people would be like, no, Devin, or whatever?
Well, so that's a 2-part question. I'm going to give you a 2-part answer. To answer that last one first, it's funny because I feel like now at age almost 24, I'm starting to be okay with rejection, because it's not something that everybody's just born with, okay, I'll get rejected, I'm fine. No, stuff like that hurts, And so in terms of moving out there and trying to get into the business after Idol, what people don't understand is when you're on a show like that and you make it to a certain level and caliber, everything's handed to you. You know, so for me, I was very ill prepared when I got off of tour and off of the show, because I thought that that was just how show business and how my life was going to be. So I'm waiting for people to, you know, I had a personal assistant and I had, you know, publicists and all this stuff that just handled things for me. I just used to get an email saying where to be and what to do, you know? And so getting off of a show and trying to, I guess, pursue music with absolutely no direction, it was very intimidating. You know, I'm out there with guys and girls that are, I mean, they're on the grind, and that's not something that I grew up doing. I wasn't, you know, a starving artist or a musician that was doing like these open mics kind of things. And so for me, I didn't even know how to ask for help. And so, you know, I actually had an agent at the time, and I had a few interviews and a few auditions and stuff like that. And even doing that, it's crazy because I never really had to audition for something to that level, like how it was in LA, where you walk into a room and there's hundreds of people that can either do exactly what you do, if not better. And for me, without sounding, you know, very prideful, I in no way think I'm like the greatest thing ever, but growing up, I guess it was always easy to like differentiate who I was better than until I got to LA. And when I got to LA, it was just like, whoa, like everybody out here is really good. And so something that I've had to learn throughout the years is like, I got to watch my pride, and I got to remember that, first of all, there are hundreds of people, like there's someone that's better than you already, you know? And I try not to walk into the room thinking like I'm the best. I try to walk into the room like I'm the best of myself so far. Like I've gotten better, and this is the best I am. Like I'm the best today than I've been ever before, you know? And in that kind of mindset, it's been a little easier to kind of audition for things and get turned down, or, you know, to kind of make decisions. In terms of on the show, or no, how I look at just how I look at being an artist differently. It goes hand in hand with this, where I'm not going to apologize for wanting to be independent. I'm not going to apologize for how I dress, what I want to sing about. I don't want to sell out, you know. And a lot of times, you know, especially when I got off Idol, it was like, okay, what I have to do is, you know, I have to be marketable to be on the radio. And I'm at a point now where I'm like, listen, would it be cool to be on a radio? Yes, but that's not necessarily my goal. You know, my goal is to have like depth and to have substance in my music. Like I want someone to look at me and tell me like I feel something when you sing, and it's not just like a good song to dance to, you know what I mean? And so I think it's being sure of yourself and understanding that not everyone's gonna like it, and that's okay. You know, if you're trying to please everyone, you're never gonna get anywhere in life. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, you're gonna be doing circles because everything goes full circle after a while. You know, so it's just being yourself.
I saw an interview you did on American Idol. They kind of asked you who were some of your artists that you were inspired by, and I think you named, was it Chris Allen?
Chris Allen was one, I've actually done a concert with him before.
Have you? Okay,
great guy,
great voice. You listed several people in that interview. I'm curious to know, has that changed for you in terms of who some of those inspirations are for you, and have you worked with any of them, or how they continue to influence you?
That's a great question. Honestly, no, because it always depends on how they ask the question. So when they say, you know, who are your musical influences, when I think of that, even answering that is difficult, because it's like, okay, in the style of music or in like lyrically, what, you know, who do I vibe to? So to kind of like put it together, I don't think the list has changed. You know, there are people like Brian McKnight, Stevie Wonder, a lot of gospel artists like Kim Burrell, Kiki Sheard, Yolanda Adams. There's, I mean, it's, you know what I mean? Like, this is what I grew up listening to. I grew up listening to gospel. And even now, on the secular side, it's still very like the jazzy R&B kind of vibe. So stuff like Chris Brown, Brian McKnight, Jasmine Sullivan, like all these people where it's just, it's, I don't want to say like a sensual vibe, but it's very, you can sit back and just really appreciate it. You know what I mean? I like the instrumentation in it. I like that people that are really, you know, that are real musicians know what kind of work and what kind of talent goes into some of these tracks, as opposed to just a good song, again, on the radio that you can just dance to, where it's just somebody on a computer, you know, just doing a bunch of stuff. So I don't think that list is really different. In terms of lyrics, again, growing up to gospel, obviously, you know, my faith is very important. I wouldn't say that I ever want to become like a Christian artist, just because I feel like that avenue is a little limiting. But I definitely don't want to sing about things I don't know about. And I want to sing about things that people can relate to. And I feel like there's not enough artists, or there aren't enough artists that sing about things like faith, but that can still make it mainstream. You know? And I feel like, you know, besides doing a Christmas song, I feel like there's more ways to talk about that greater power, you know?
Absolutely.
You know, you quoted. I'm going to quote something that you quoted. Understand? But here we'll paraphrase a little bit. But you said once, as awesome as it is, if you won. And you told some of the producers on the show, American Idol show, this, it's not going to change what I would do in the future. I think that different cause, most people are like, I'm the next American Idol. Most people want to say they're the next American Idol. You responded, well, you said, I'm a singer.
Well, you know, going back to that, it's... Thank God for my mom. I just have to say that first. I was one of the very few people that had my mother very close to me on Idol, and it was hard because she paid for everything out of pocket, because since I was already 18, if you're below the age of 18 because you're considered a minor, they actually require that you fly out with a parent because you need a guardian. I was 18, so my mom couldn't just get paid for, so she actually took time out of her work schedule and out of her everyday life and had to leave the family at home just for those months that I was out in LA.
Yeah.
And she was there, and honestly, she kept me very grounded, you know, in terms of prayer, in terms of song choice, in terms of drama on the show and everything. It's just like, it was really nice to be able to just be like, not just like, hey mom, are you there? But just like, hey, I need to see you. And for me to just have that time. And one of the things that we always prayed for was, I mean, even honestly, on day one going in for the audition is, Lord, I only want to go as far as you want me to go. And it's that simple. And when you have that kind of faith in God, and when you have that kind of mindset, and it's authentic, I don't think that there's much room for disappointment. Do you know what I'm saying? Because if you're saying, God, you know what I want, I really want to be on this show. My prayer to God was I always wanted to make top 10. Why? Because once you make the top 10, you get to travel and do the tour. I'm like, God, if I'm number 10, thank you. Like, that's all I wanted. I made it to 8th place. So God said, you can meet your goal and then some, you know? So in terms of Idol, you know, I guess I can understand why some people cry when they get voted off, but for me, I feel like crying is for something that's not happy. And for me, I felt like I had did what I was here to do, you know? So I didn't feel like I didn't meet a goal. I didn't feel like I lost anything. I didn't feel like, oh, I let someone down. It's just like, listen, I could have left home a long time ago in terms of talent, because there were a lot of talented people my season. And God gave me what I wanted, and then some. So for me, it's like, I don't have anything. I'm going to go home and rest for a little bit back in Chicago, and then it's time to do the tour in the summer, you know? So I'm just like, I'm going to be singing, because that's what I did.
We definitely got to give a shout out to your mom.
For sure.
Shout out to your mom, because I'll tell you, as a parent, many people don't know this, but my daughter was also a candidate for The Voice. So she went through a process, and it got to the point where I had to, as a parent, also sign a contract that says I'm going to cut her loose. They're going to own her if we proceed forward. And I just remember that day because of knowing a little bit about the industry, and we had already been working together as well, and some other people that I've worked with, that as a parent you're always worried about, oh, what, you know, is she going to be in good hands? And you end up trusting the Lord and all this, and you say, no, Lord, be light in the darkness, or wherever she stands. So a shout out to your mom for keeping you in prayer, man.
Thanks, Mom.
That's what she did amazing on it. So, so we know that in this journey, which is what the show's about, in the creative world, we all go through these ups and downs, these peaks and these valleys, right? For sure. What were those moments with you?
I mean, man, I know that one of the hardest things that I've had to deal with is I can be a perfectionist. And it's funny because for a lot of other things, I'm very happy-go-lucky. And when it's come to my music, especially after going through, you know, different relationships and different even business relationships, you know, right when I got off of Idol, it's made me a little tense when it comes to my music. And one of the things that I have to really remember is to not think too much about it when I'm like in the booth and when I'm working on a project, because the more I do that, I mean, that's more time that's going by that I'm not releasing music. And that was a huge issue that I had. Right off of Idol, it's like I was in the studio and I was working and working. And what's funny is I'm actually going to be working on a project that I started right when I got off of Idol, and we've never even released it, and we're picking it back up now, and it's going to be released soon, so I'm really excited about that. But that just goes to show, I mean, it's been almost 5 years, you know, and that's a huge gap for me to be sitting on a song or to be sitting on a project, and it's because I got in my own mindset, and I'm like, it's not good enough, it's not what the people want, it's not going to sell. And then, you know, we just talked about it before, where I have to really let go and let God, and even with my music, because I think as an artist, it's hard, or it's easy to forget that these gifts aren't ours.
Yeah.
Especially once you know God.
Yeah.
And so I know that, you know, a lot of creative people, it's easy for them to look and compare their work to other artists, but that's still not how God sees it. It's just like, I gave you this, so if I gave you this, I'm going to take care of it. You just have to trust me.
Yeah.
And that was a huge issue of mine. It's, you know, the pride comes before the fall, and I had to fall.
Right.
But I definitely had some pride where I'm just like, no, I want to make my decisions. I don't feel good enough about this. I want to do it like this. I want to do it like that. And, you know, it put some strain on people that I was working with, some producers. And I mean, I even remember working with you. I remember I was just like, man, I want to change this. And you're like, okay, well, I got to redo the guitars for this. And then, you know, then I was like, okay, well, can we slow it down or make it faster? You know, and it's, for me, it's, I didn't even know what I wanted. It was a weird thing of having to just like be calm, breathe, do you, and let the outcome just happen, you know?
Yeah. Devin, what would you say to the artists that are watching right now, that you talk about the relationships that you had developed even after Idol, and no doubt there was a lot of business, a lot of politics and all of that stuff. How did you keep the love of the game still passionate? Because no doubt that when you went into Idol, it was just music. I love music. I'm so passionate about this. I love writing. I love singing. How did you keep that still on the forefront of what you do? Or do you struggle? Do you live in the tension of keeping that still in front, along with it's a business still? You know, what would you say to the artist that's trying to do what you're doing?
You know, they go hand in hand. You're going to have, exactly how you asked me, what are the ups and downs? You're going to have both ups and downs. So you're going to have moments where you feel like everything's going fine, and you're also going to have times where you're not going to know what you're doing. And I think that even the people that have been in the game for a long time, they're still learning things. I feel like in that sense, evolution is key. You know, you have to keep adapting. And everything from technology to how music, where music in general is going. You know, the style of music that we're singing now and listening to now wasn't what we were listening to 5 years ago. So I think just surround yourself with good people. For me, that was a huge thing. You know, you asked, am I living in the tension? One of the tensions that I was in was I had someone that just seemed like they wanted to use me. And for me, thank God that I was strong enough to not give in to certain things. But something like that, if a person isn't strong enough, it'll make them discouraged to want to ever be in the music business again.
You know, if I can interject in that, because that's powerful. Many times we find ourselves in studio sessions and recording sessions, and I've worked with various clients, and recently I worked with a lady out of Los Angeles as well, and there's a certain concept or challenge that artists go through when they're in the studio with certain people in the studio, you know, the crew. Those moments that they're challenged, there's a perception that how is it that a person such as yourself and an artist that's confronted with these moments that could compromise their faith or compromise what they're all about, to be able to stand back from that without the fear of the opportunity?
Well, you know, and this is tough, and the reason why it's tough is because for the people that aren't followers, I think a lot of times they just take the opportunity because they don't want to miss it. And again, going back to the fact that I have a strong faith, I think that I mean, God talks about it. What God has for you, no man can take, and what God doesn't have for you, no man can give you. You know, like for me, if I know the situations I've been where either my ethics were tried or tested, or people were testing some of my morals, or it was just like a situation where I'm just like, this can either go really good or really bad depending on what I do. And for me, I just kind of have to really just stop and say like, okay, if I follow through with this, knowing what can happen, am I going to be able to go to bed today, and when I talk to God, is he going to even want to hear me? You know, at the end of the day, as a believer, I got to know that he's everywhere that I am. He knows my thoughts. He knows my heart. But especially because he knows my heart, if he knows that the Holy Spirit is nudging me to not do something or to do something, and I do the exact opposite, for me, the opportunity isn't even that worth it. Because when I die, my Grammy's not coming with me. When I die, whatever record label I'm on is not coming with me. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
Whatever house or car or paycheck that I make is not coming with me, but I got to face them. And for me, I finally got to that point where I'm just like, I'd rather miss an opportunity and know that, I mean, I serve a greater God than any record deal. And then, you know what I'm saying? So for me, it's like,
so
I think
you have the mindset that I believe in, Mike and Devin, is that if you're doing what you love to do, you won.
For sure.
Right? At the end of the day, is if you're able to do what you love to do, in spite of all those challenges you come across, you're able to still, I won. I get up every day in the studio, and I get up with this cup of coffee right here.
That's it.
Come down, make some music, and everything else is an addition.
For sure.
If you would. It's not downing it.
I
but
will
it's an
say
addition.
it is. I'm human, and I would be lying if I said I've never thought about, like, man, if I would have done this, I know that musically or my career would be in a different place. You know, but in the same way, I've also had moments where I'll wake up and I'll just think, yeah, but would I be able to, like, look in the mirror and be, like, happy with who I was? You know, when I'm doing interviews like this, I'd always be able to tell almost everything. And for me, almost everything is not okay, because that means that there's still a part of you that you're being fake about. Yeah. And I like the idea of being able to be comfortable in my skin. Ask me a question, I'll answer it. Whether you like the answer or not, that's up to you. You ask me the question. But I like the idea of me getting to wear everything on my sleeve and being an open book, so that I don't have to worry about, things like rumors, things like, I mean, there's going to be those things anyway, but I'd rather know that I have had all my bases covered, because I'm just being honest, Yeah. That's it.
It's interesting, because when you were on Idol, you were 18, you said, and, in a lot of ways, before there was Idol, before there was The Voice, before there's, I think, like a new show on Fox. I don't remember the name of that show. But
The Four.
The Four, yeah.
I auditioned for that one.
Oh, did you? Okay. So, like, before all of this stuff, I mean, you had all these musicians and singers that had to do it kind of the harder way. And so at 18 years old, most people would just pay thousands of dollars to sing in front of Keith Urban, Mariah Carey, and who's the
Nicki Minaj.
Nicki Minaj.
And Randy Jackson.
And Randy Jackson were on there. And so, I mean, now that you're post-Idol, what was that particular experience to be able to sing in front of those people and for them to hear your voice, hear your sound, and you've achieved what most people would just die for? What has that been like afterwards?
What was it like to be on the show, or what is it like afterwards?
Both.
Both. Okay. Yeah. So what was it like on the show? I'll be honest. I have to really quickly say that I respect everyone that's over the age of 18 that auditions for these shows, because I didn't realize it until now. I'm barely coming into, not barely, but I'm into my adulthood, and I have things like bills to pay and things like car notes and rent and all that stuff.
Really? You have those?
Listen.
What is that? Yeah, what is that?
But fact is, when I was 18 on the show, I had turned 18 and I was about to graduate high school, so I still lived at home. I had a car, but all I was paying was my insurance. I didn't have really a lot of responsibilities. So for me, if we're going to be completely honest, I think I would have fought a little harder on the show had I been already an adult. And it makes me look at people that are, things like full-time employees at a place, or full-time parents, or in school and taking time off or quitting their jobs to go do something like this. I was working at Starbucks at the time. If I needed to quit my job for Idol, I would have quit my job for Idol. Why? It didn't matter. I'm like, I'll get a job when I get off. But there's a different mindset. So I think I would have fought harder. But even being an 18-year-old, what was it like to sing in front of these artists? I've never really gotten starstruck, and I know that sounds like kind of a weird thing to say, but I don't think there'd be one person that I'd be like, oh my God, like I got to meet them, but I do admire a lot of people. And so it was weird to see them in person, because I mean, when you think of celebrities, you don't ever not see them through a screen or pictures.
Right.
And so to see them moving like in 3D, it was weird. It was weird,
3D,
I remember walking into the room and all four of them were there, and it was just like, dear God, that's real. Mariah Carey sitting right there. I remember growing up remembering my mom singing her songs, and all that stuff. So
that's awesome.
Singing in front of them was a great feeling, and honestly, hearing all of them like what I could do, that was the first time I felt like people that were qualified to say what real talent was or wasn't, for them to say, you're going to Hollywood, we believe in your talent.
Yeah.
It was very validating, and I think that was a huge boost of confidence. And coming off of the show, I think the weirdest thing is I still think of myself as just Devin. And none of my friends have changed. I mean, I've gained more friends, but like my best friend from high school is still my best friend. my best friend from church is still my best friend. You know, I didn't change anything.
Yeah.
And so the weirdest thing for me is because I feel like I'm such a normal person, it's when people come up to me and they're like, oh my God, can I take a picture with you? Or can you sign this? Or when we were on tour and there were people buying my merchandise, or even the fact that, you know, right now I'll be promoting new music, you know, at the end of this, but you know, I'm setting up a party and I'm releasing new music, and the fact that, you know, I have people flying in from different states to come and see me just for this thing, it makes me feel like, whoa, like, would I even do this for them? You know, it really makes you stop, and it's a humbling thing, but it almost like catches me off guard still, where I'm like, wow, like I really did that. I really was on television, and I really traveled the world and did all these things. I've done all these things, and it just makes me, I think in terms of my walk, it makes me 10 times more thankful. Yeah. Because I'm just like, you know what, God, like, first of all, I didn't deserve it.
Yeah.
I really didn't. And again, some of the ups and downs, I told you guys it was pride. You know, I've had my cocky moments where I know I've said some hurtful things to certain people, and I know I've made people feel small in certain ways, and I've gone back and apologized for it, but it doesn't change the fact that I was that person for a little while. And so knowing that even after all that, you know, I'm still, it's like blessing after blessing after blessing. It's kind of a weird thing when people know me and I don't know them. I think that's the weirdest thing. When people know me or know of me and I'm just like, I've never seen you before, but thank you for liking my music, you know? So it's a weird feeling.
Wow, so we're getting close to the end of the show, and we may have to do a part 2 to this because I really love the people out there that, you know, going through your journey, something similar to that, to encourage and motivate them and guide them through this. But we have a couple more questions.
Sure.
And I'll shoot you with this next one, and Michael close with the last one. So you went through these ups and downs, and today you are moving forward. You are pressing forward. What helps you? What keeps the drive going?
Man, you know, I've said this millions of times, and it's kind of a silly answer, but it's the honest to God truth. It is the only thing I'm good at.
Yeah. You make a good coffee, though, I understand.
Well, okay, I do make a good coffee.
That's why you're
I do make a good coffee. I was a great barista. Shout out to Starbucks.
That's right out.
No, but seriously, you know, in terms of like picking up a craft or just having a talent, I got 2 left feet. I can't draw. Even when it comes to music, I'm not a great writer. You know, I have such writer's block. You know, I can write like, you know, a few phrases or come up with a few melodies on the piano, but it's not my gift. But when it comes to singing, I mean, I don't even get nervous on stage anymore. You know what I mean? For me, it's like that's where I'm supposed to be. So what keeps me going is I know that if I can't sing, I'm screwed. I can't do anything else, nor do I get any fulfillment the way that I do when I'm singing. You know, anything from, I mean, I've done things like the national anthem for events. I've done things like sung at weddings and at funerals, and I've done things like birthday parties and American Idol and all this stuff. And for me, it's like, it's all the same, without belittling any of the things I've done or making them sound like they're not important. It's just, for me, I'm the same Devin when I'm on the stage. And
so
it's
hang
just,
on to that. So hold on to what you do,
that's
what
it.
you love to do.
For me, this is what I love to do. I'm fulfilled doing it. And I just so happen to be blessed that it pays my bills right now.
Wow,
you know, so for me, it's do what you love.
Yeah, that's it, and be happy with it.
Yeah.
Well, Devin, you know, we close every time we close the show. We always close with one question that we ask every single person, and I'll ask you this question, and we usually expect a one-word answer. So let's see if you can.
You'll either fail or pass.
Yeah.
Oh.
No. So here's the question: if you could describe in one word the kind of work you want to accomplish by the end of your life, what would it be?
One word. Tick tock.
The type of work. Can I give you a word to describe like what I want to achieve with my work?
Sure, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So, because if I have to give you one word, I got to find my parameters.
Yeah. You can give that one word and then explain it.
Cool. So I would say freedom. And I'm going to explain that. For a huge part of my childhood, you know, I didn't like who I was, and even, again, in some of the ups and downs in music is, you know, you can sometimes try to compare yourself to someone, and you can want to change things about yourself. And in terms of music now, I want not only to feel freedom when I'm working on a project, but I also want people to feel free when they're listening to it. I think that music can do some crazy things. I mean, there's hundreds of stories of music doing things like, healing marriages and people overcoming, struggles and quitting smoking and doing all these things just from a song, and for me, I think I want freedom in everything I do for music. I want to feel like I don't have any like heaviness, and unless it's for the songwriting, you know what I mean? Like I want to feel like I can be myself, and I want people when they listen to it, I want them to kind of feel like free. I want them to feel like I can get through whatever I'm getting through. I want it to be encouraging. I can't say encouraging, but we'll stick to freedom. I just free. I want people to feel free, and I want to be free. I don't want to feel like I'm trapped to boxes, and I don't want to feel like down in a box because I didn't do something or because I did do something. I want to just feel like just free.
Yeah.
That's a great answer.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I like the way you explained it. So
thanks.
thank you for the breakdown.
Yay.
That was really good. Well, man, Devin, it was great having you.
Thank you guys for having me whenever you guys want. This was awesome.
Yeah.
It was really great. And I hope the audience out there got something really good today out of today's show. Devin really spoke about some really hard stuff. And, I know there's people out there that are probably traveling the same journey or looking to go in that same route. Just know that it's not always an easy ride, right? That's just the bottom line. But he never gave up. We don't give up. We just press forward. We really trust, what we have been given as a gift, from God, and we hang on to it and press forward. So if you can do that and continue on, then you won. So believe that. So I want to appreciate Devin. You're going to know more about Devin. We're going to provide some links at the end of the show for you. But if someone wanted to know immediately about how to get you,
how to get in touch.
How to get in touch. What do you have?
So follow me on Instagram. It's DevinAI12. That also works for Twitter. For Facebook, it's just my name. I have 2 fan pages. Pick one. And on YouTube, it's Devin Velez Official. So if you just type in my name, a lot of my videos will show up on that account. And give me a follow. I'll follow some of you guys back. And ask me whatever questions I didn't answer here.
Awesome. Sweet. Awesome. Yeah. And those links are going to be available. So, and even if you Google Devin Velez, I guarantee you he's going to show up on that screen.
Sorry about the pictures.
There's some great pictures in there. Yeah, great moments and highlights. So. But so thanks again for joining us, Mike. Good to see you again this week.
Good to see you too. Yeah.
We're looking forward to releasing this segment and you guys getting your feedback. So please share the video, give us some comments, tell us what you feel, tell us about what you felt the story that Devin shared with us today did to you. And if you know someone that's going through this journey, please send them the links, share these videos, and tell them that we love coffee here. Devin's a coffee lover. Mike loves to hold a coffee mug.
I love to hold a coffee mug, but I don't drink coffee.
He doesn't drink coffee, so
hot chocolate.
Thanks for joining us at Coffee Break, and we're looking forward to see you till next time.
Yeah.
And Coffee Break. We'll see you soon.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.